Today's lesson is about squares and square roots. All right, and we're going to talk real fast about where a squaring number comes from and where squaring a root comes from. But first of all, I'll start off with squares. If I have a square that is 5 units long, what is the area of my square? Well, we all know the geometric shape of a square. We all know a square is a four-sided figure. They all have right angles, right? But the biggest thing that everybody knows about a square is that all four sides are equal length. Okay? Well, if we want to figure out the area of a square, if we know it's 5 units long, that means that every unit, or every side, is 5 units long. So if we're going to find the area of something, we know the area of a square is just base times height, or length times width, however you want to say it. It's one side times another side. Well, this happens to be the same thing. It happens to be 5 times 5. Well, we know from our exponents that if it's written twice like that, we can write it in exponential form like this, 5 squared, not exponential form, but written with an exponent, so 5 squared. We know that's the same thing, so 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So that's all squaring a number is. Find the square of 3. So we're saying we want to find what 3 squared is, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, easy enough. Moving on, find the square of 28. We want to find out what 28 squared is, which is 28 times 28. And I'm going to write it like this so I can do some longhand multiplication. So 8 times 8, 64. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 6 is 22, 0, 4, 2, 2. And go ahead and add down, right? Whoops, no, that wasn't right. Sorry. Try to do it the quick way. Sorry, 0, 16, 4, 5. Okay. So 4, 8, 7, 784. We could also do it using a calculator. All right. And I'll let this thing load up here. And when we square something on a calculator, we just can use the caret key is what it's called. This is called a caret key. Square something and hit enter. And when you square 28, we get 784. That's good because I got that right. Okay. The square root is the opposite. We want to work the other way. So if we were asked, if we had 784 and we said, what two numbers multiplied by themselves equals 784, that would be a square root. The square root is denoted by a radical sign like this. It kind of looks like the division sign, but you'll know the difference when we just have a square root and a 4 there. It doesn't have any number outside of it. We know it's a radical sign. All right? So the square root of 784, we're asking ourselves, what times itself is 784? And we just found out that was 28. How about the square root of 4? What times itself is 4? Well, we know 2 times 2 is 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. Okay. So here's an example. It says the infield of a baseball field is a square with an area of 8,100 square feet. What are the dimensions of the field? So if you think about a baseball field, if I run to first base, second base, third base, home, we've made a square. They're each so far apart, right? They tell me that my infield is 8,100 square feet. So that's my area. We know an area that it was the side times the side, right? We know that was the side times the side and made the area for a square. So we know that the area equals a side squared. Well, if we know our area is 8,100, all right, and that equals a side squared, if we do the opposite and take the square root of both sides, we'll be able to figure out what each of our sides are. So maybe you can think about that in your head. Maybe you need to use a calculator, and I got to show you how to use a calculator later anyways. The square root symbol on a calculator looks just like this. The square root of 8,100 is 90. And if you can remember anything from baseball, you know that each base is 90 feet apart from each other. So you might have known that answer already. All right, but that's how we could use it in a real life problem. This comes up in construction quite a bit when you're laying floor, when you're looking to lay tile. and stuff like that. So that's how we're going to use it. We'll see you in class tomorrow.